Big hit, good save. Lots of whistles. They're deep, make the change. There they go. Here comes Jackson and Paula. What was that for?
Late offside.
Wow, that was really late.
Right call, but late.
Oh, you guys are sharp. Oh, there's no question. McClement was offside by a mile.
Brad Watson getting an earful from Andy Murray. And they forgot the puck. God, there's always something.
They're doing good. Did you get, is this your control versus power? Way to go, Yves. I didn't know you were that powerful.
In the old days when we used to call for the commercials during power plays, good producer was worth 10 points in the standings. Get those commercials into the right place.
That's where Sundin can be dangerous. Funnel pucks behind the net team.
Take it off.
There's one guy who can beat me foot race, McKee.
We'll be back right after this. Now they're racing back and icing. Stay with us.
Yeah. Confused. Oh, Oshie, what are you doing, kid? Good. Shoulder check. I guess I don't have to talk back to it. We had Crombie go right in behind Luongo on the first shift, and we had that one. And goalie bowling. I know it's back there. There he's okay. 2-2. There it is. Yeah. Hartnell will score any second now. Get a score game. Good play over there. Who was that? Andy McDonald just filled in the exit. Off the pipe.
That was Andy McDonald again. Kentner sticks in a couple of shots.
Being old.
Over the fishes.
Oh, Kessler again. Storm.
First one was a dandy. Action picks up without us.
Second time for those two.
Yeah, a little revenge in that one. The Whites could have unloaded on him. They're not done yet.
Here's a little stop and pop. For the playoff game now.
Yeah. Get to call the action when they get a stoppage for a penalty every 15 seconds. Now we're off the air. That's great action.
Just about at the point where the refs are going to have to call something. Just keeps going up a level and up a level. Got a good shot. All the Hammer boys are out here for Vancouver right now.
Yeah, they were playing that.
Started the game.
Obi.
Carolina won. What is that? They won in overtime?
See it. I just heard it. Looked after it. That hurt.
I didn't even know that affects him.
Oh man, this is great. Missing. I can't believe it. You're a homer, Terry, all right? Got that.
There you go. That was Olin that stepped in on him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Then I saw Crombeen went over and talked to Olin on a face-off when he tried to get back at him.
Will he introduce all of us if he throws to us? Okay. All right. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2-1 along with Darrell Ray and Lindsay Soto. Rick Peckham with you. The call of this game as we are 12 and a half minutes into the first period with no score, and St. Louis holding a shot advantage of 5-4. Vancouver just held off the board on a power play chance as that puck sent toward the net by Mason Raymond and stopped by Chris Mason. Chris Mason, Roberto Luongo, the goaltenders here in game 2. That shot was blocked out in front by Jeff Wojtka. Dan Heino got a charging penalty for the Blues, and Vancouver with one shot on net during that power play. But Razor, there's been plenty of action at both ends of the ice.
This has been a man's game in the first half of this opening period. The Blues came out strong, had a couple of real good looks at Roberto Luongo. They hit a pipe at that end. The hitting's been hard. They played it primarily 5-on-5. These fourth lines have played a lot. It's been intoxicating.
Brian Johnson chased to center. Shane O'Brien gets the puck free and stepping up. Alex Edler, he'll send it in the zone. Tracked down by Rick Rippon. He spins off a check. He walks in front. O'Brien with a shot. Blocked by Roman Polak. And Andy McDonald, who hit one of those posts at the other end on a deflection for the Blues, starts the play out.
It has been full throttle here in the opening period, and excitement at both ends of the ring. It's been unbelievable.
Max Sundin run to the boards by Polak, who certainly is equal at 235 pounds in terms of size. Brad Winchester with a pass ahead, taken over by Edler. Vancouver winning the opening game of this series 2-1. Daniel Sedin, Sammy Salo the goals, and Brad Boyes scoring for St. Louis. Here's a pass to Alex Burrows. He bumped off the puck there by Mike Weaver.
Well, they changed the point of attack there. You can see all the Blues on one half of the ice. It was open on the far sides. The Canucks could not convert on it. It's been a long time between whistles throughout this game. Perk your ears up on both benches.
Luongo will calm things down and get a whistle here. We talk about Daniel Sedin, a lot of pressure on the Sedins in this coming into this series, and on both these twins to produce in the postseason. Daniel certainly did, Razor.
Well, he did in a lot of different ways too. He was into it aggressively with the body, scored the opening goal of the series. He hit a couple of posts as well. He and his brother were the two best players in game 1. The Canucks, their best players, were the best players in the game, and you're seeing a pretty hard matchup against that line along with Alex Burrows. And they've had some looks here tonight from the St. Louis Blues, who want a pretty firm D pair out against them all the time.
Well, the Blues had 11 players make their Stanley Cup debuts on Wednesday in game 1. 3 key forwards have been tremendous all season. However, Andy Murray says their play has dipped a little bit in recent games. They need these 3 to charge it back up tonight.
Yeah, they were kind of a non-factor in game 1, and that can't continue. They're too important. They combined for 50 goals in the regular season. TJ Oshie looked like he was in awe in game 1. Perron took a couple of penalties. Berglund didn't play very much as the game moved along. And you're right, Andy Murray said they have to be better. And I would say with game 1 jitters out of the way, they probably will be here in this second game. I think everybody's been better so far in this one. Andy Murray even said himself he was encouraged coming out of the loss in game 1 because he felt that a lot of the Blues could play better. He named about 11 guys who were below their usual level, and they were tentative. And even the players this morning talked about the fact that they felt they played tentative in the opener, and they weren't going to do that here in game 2. And it's been anything but tentative in the first 15 minutes.
Both these teams had remarkable runs in the second half of the season to get to this series. A number 3 seed Vancouver against the number 6 seed St. Louis Blues. But the Blues, remarkably, in their last 40 games had not lost 2 games consecutively in regulation. So they've been able to bounce right back many, many times. That's just what they're looking for from their team tonight. Wojtka with a shot deflected wide by Ryan Johnson. Jay McClement works the corner. Darcy Hordichuk with a pass right on the mark for Johnson. They'll try to step around. Carlo Koliakovo helped out by Rippon in there. Johnson, a member of the Blues for 5 years before he signed with the Canucks last summer as a free agent, working that corner. And as the Canucks have done so well, and particularly, Razor, the third period closing out that game in game one, a 15-6 shot advantage, able to hem in the Blues.
Their forecheck was spot on. They stopped taking penalties, which was a big key. There were a lot of penalties and a lot of talk about the penalties in game one after it.
It was very tightly called. 13 power plays in all, 11 in the first two periods. And a key for St. Louis, certainly not in their favor. They only scored in their last chance. Boyd's goal made it 2-1. And as Andy Murray said this morning, well, that gave us a chance for the third period. We should have taken it from there, but at the same time, Vancouver really kind of outplayed them in the special teams. And the Blues certainly had the advantage coming in. One would think of the 8th-ranked power play, the 3rd-ranked penalty-killing unit. Here's a shot by Kevin Bieksa, blocked by Jay McKee. Pavel Demitra will play it in, but he's got his teammate Sundin offside. Long pass through the middle. No one can touch it. It reaches Roberto Luongo. Matthias Olin skims it off the top of the boards by everyone. The Blues will have to play it. Wojciech back. Mason Raymond on the forecheck, joined by Big Steve Bernier. Bernier gets a hit from Keith Tkachuk, who's tried to set a tone physically in the early moments of this game for St. Louis.
Well, it was interesting. Both coaches started what you would call, at least in numbers, their 4th lines. And they came out banging, and others have followed suit.
Puck worked free by the Canucks. And out comes Raymond. Blues back in good shape. Here's the shot turned away by Chris Mason on a try by Willie Mitchell from long distance. And Andy McDonald sprints back for the Blues. Salo awaits. Here's the shot. Save off the shoulder of Luongo. David Backes, 31 goals in the regular season, working with Brad Boyes, their goal-scoring leader with 33. On that line with McDonald. Under 3 minutes to go here in this first period of game 2. Lead pass for Daniel Sedin. Long strides into the zone, and he's knocked to the corner boards by Roman Polak. Henrik Sedin behind the net. Alex Burrows rounds out the line. The pass was picked off by Barrett Jackman. And that's the pairing that St. Louis will use against the Sedin.
It is. You know, that pairing on defense, and as many times as Andy Murray can get it, probably the McClement line up front as a 5-man unit against the Canucks top trio. The one thing that Sedin's, though, can expose the opponent on is if you charge at them and you're over-aggressive, they love that. Bring it on. They'll spin off you. They use that spin cycle. They find one another. They don't even have to look. They know where one another are going to be.
Talked to Daniel about that this morning, and he said that Jackman and Polak play physically, but they really hold their positions well. And he felt that was certainly true, what you're just saying. He says things open up when guys go at them aggressively. They cycle in that corner, and the give and goes are the best you'll see around the NHL. Wojciech's shot is handled by Luongo.
Well, you can really see both teams, though, trying to get to the front of the net on Luongo or Chris Mason at the other end. Try to disrupt their optics.
Blues did a good job of that early on Wednesday in game 1, but kind of went away from it as the penalties mounted, and the flow of the game was disrupted severely at that point until the third period when things settled down from a penalty standpoint, but the Canucks took over. They nursed that 2-1 lead all the way home. As we mentioned, the 15-6 shot advantage. They were 14-2 in their favor for much of that period. Here's Backes for St. Louis. Nice play defensively. Made by Mitchell. Sundin trying to get it in behind the Blues defense. Held in by Mitchell. Back to Sundin. Back of the goal. Sundin circles. Under a minute to go in the first period. Picked up by Demitra. The former Blue centers, and it's off Backes' skate and just wide.
But Matt Sundin's had the puck about 3 or 4 times in behind the St. Louis net. They're funneling pucks back in there to him. He can be as good and strong as anybody, bringing it from behind the net to the front.
Salo a hit on McDonald. Dan Heino all over Mitchell. It draws the ire of the crowd here at GM Place. 258 consecutive sellout here in Vancouver, dating back to November of 2002. Heino lets that go as the Blues complete a change. Shots now 7-5 St. Louis. They have the first 5 with plenty of early pressure. And storming that Vancouver net, Kyle Wellwood lines the puck in behind the net. Bernier going to cut off Jay McClement. Back comes B.J. Crombie. flipped to the corner, and that's going to do it for a rapidly moving first period. It produces plenty of excitement, but no goals. A 7-5 St. Louis shot advantage here through 20 minutes of Game 2. Stay tuned for the United States Marine Corps intermission report as we send it back to Hockey Central with Bill Patrick, Keith Jones, and Brian Englow. Welcome back to beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. The side of our coverage tonight on Versus Game 2 of the Western Conference quarterfinals. No score through 20 minutes of play. Rick Peckham back with you, along with Daryl Ray and Lindsay Soto. And Razor, 20 minutes in the books after Game 1 we saw on Wednesday. Things seem to have settled down in terms of the nerves, it looks like.
Yeah, that and the penalties taken.
Yes.
A very different game than game number 1. There was only one minor in that opening 20 minutes. So it was a 4-line period for both teams. They rolled 4 lines. It was physical, went at one another, and a lot of net drive. They tried to get to the net on both Mason and Luongo and create some kind of havoc in and around there.
So we look at the eHarmony keys to the game, how the team's done so far.
Well, you know, you look at it going in and you think the Canucks have to start this game how they finished Game 1. They've done that in some ways, but they've been matched by what the Blues have done. The other part, power plays, well, St. Louis hasn't been on a power play yet, so that's a moot point. And traffic at the net, that's the big one, and you can see both teams trying to concentrate on doing that much more here in Game 2 than Game 1.
Both teams felt coming out of Game 1 that they could have played better had they had more of an opportunity to get into a flow. And you mentioned fewer penalty calls. There were 11 power plays dealt out the first 40 minutes, and then all of a sudden things settled down. Boy, did the Canucks get into their flow, but St. Louis able to get into a flow more so in this game, as I know with the only penalty of that first period. And we get underway here in the second. Rick Rippon trying to stir something up with Ryan Johnson down low in that St. Louis zone. Rippon takes a look. Keep it on the stick of Johnson. Centers right through the blue. Kachuk trying to get to it. He's blocked there by Darcy Hordichuk. Out comes Brad Winchester. On the rush, Koliakovo fires, kicked out. Rebound, Winchester just wide. As Luongo got that left leg pad out of the first shot, but Winchester fought it up. Here's Daniel Sedin closing and lost the puck. Sliding across, Jackman dumps him. And he stumbles away with the puck.
Struggling with a great pass by O'Brien to liberate Sedin initially, and then it just fizzled at the business end.
Turnover resulting in the Canucks keeping it in the zone, and Henrik Sedin almost connected with Daniel. There's a drive that's blocked as Burrows. And behind to Henrik Sedin on the back end. Looks for Daniel just by a stick. Kevin Bieksa with a try, and it's tipped out of play by B.J. Crombie. Let's check in downstairs with Lindsay Soto.
We saw a lot of energy in that first period. That's what the Canucks were most happy about. They told us yesterday they wanted to get back to playing 5-on-5 hockey. They got that. Now, according to assistant coach Ryan Walter, they want to make sure they're spending all of their 5-on-5 energy in their offensive zone. And when they're in the blue zone, they want to spend more time in front of their goalie. Felt like they did a good job of putting pressure on Mason in Game 1. Less so, though, in the first period tonight.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Goals are hard to come by this time of year, and especially in this series. Two teams that defend well, put a lot of people in front of the net. You're going to earn your offense.
Puck slips out to center. McDonald hops on it for the Blues. Starts it in. Looking to make a play. Can't find the late man. He'll take it behind the net. Trying to connect with Boys. It's played away by Ryan Kessler. Or was he an unsung hero in the game Wednesday night?
He was tremendous. That last play, though, was real smart, diligent play by Pavel Demitra away from the puck to make sure that Andy McDonald had nowhere to go with it.
Kessler down the wing with speed, shooting a save by Mason. Rebound, Mason stopped that one. Kessler back to the point to Mitchell. Pressured by Backus, that shot deflected out of play. Sundin is pointing at the Blues player. And apparently went out off the St. Louis stick.
I like Ryan Kessler. He plays with pace. He gave one of those do-what-it-takes Stanley Cup performances in game number 1. Here he uses the defenseman as a screen, little toe drag and snap. Nice stop as Mason got down and found it through the legs. Zing, follows it up. Another chance jam at the net. Boy, he was dynamic. I mean, every area of the game, he had something to say about it. Hits, block shots. He was tremendous in that 5-on-3 kill for the Vancouver Canucks. He won face-offs when he was expected to do that. It's like a utility knife. Anything you need, just pull it out of there. Swiss Army.
Sundin's got on the score sheet. Kessler filled in the blanks with the tremendous play in a lot of areas. Playing about 5.5 minutes of shorthanded time, and you mentioned that 5-on-3 St. Louis had. They had a pretty good start, then got the 5-on-3, were only able to get 2 shots on it, and that kind of took some steam out of them. Kessler a couple of shot blocks in that span of time, 1:39 with a 5-on-3 advantage, and Vancouver settled things down a little bit from there. Good shot up the boards, compacting the play is Bieksa. Sundin's go to work out of that corner. Pass to the point to Mattias Ohlund, the 11-year man firing, knocked down by Jackman, and it's cleared out by Heino. Heino shaken up early in this game, and a big hit by Shane O'Brien, but he's been able to come back and take a regular shift for the Blues.
Well, that line started the second period again, and that's what these two coaches have done. Alain Vigneault for the Canucks and Andy Murray. They want those pace-setting, physical fourth lines to get out there and set a tone for everybody else, and they've done it.
Oshie comes up with a turnover, trying to outmaneuver Bieksa. David Braun shooting, and he fires over the prone Luongo from a tough angle to miss the net.
Wow, there's that kid line. They look like they've got a little more poise in this game, too. They had the puck more. Here they come again.
20-year-old Patrick Berglund working with 20-year-old David Perron, and TJ Oshie goes 22. Slowed up by O'Brien, keeps going though. That's his MO, a penalty upcoming, and it will go against the Canucks. Delayed call, Carlo Koliakovo does not shoot, Weaver looks, he'll fire, save Luongo, no rebound for Oshie there, and we'll get a penalty upcoming against Vancouver here at 3:39.
Good penetrating shift by the kid line though generates this, and the first look at the Blues power play here in game number 2. That's just puck pursuit and hustle by Oshie to get in after it. O'Brien got on the outside of it, has to foul him, and if the Blues are going to be successful, 2 things have to happen. 1, they're going to have to win a game here in Vancouver, and 2, their power play is going to have to count for them.
Blues get it from the draw. Koliakovo across, the shot by Steen is blocked by a diving Ryan Johnson. He sacrifices his helmet and stays out there. Shane O'Brien goes for the hold at 3:39. McDonald from behind the net to Steen, shooting, saved by Luongo, and the rebound sent wide. The race on for that loose puck, and it's taken by the Canucks, fired out of play.
And it's going to be a minor. You shoot the puck out of play from behind your own blue line.
Well, Sammy Salo fired from the corner, and it was off a St. Louis stick and out of play. He was selling that to the officials. Chris Rooney, the referee, bought it. The draw comes outside the center.
Exactly. Here's that big shot block by Johnson. Popped his top off. He went down so violently to get in front of that. He was excellent in game 1 as well. Playing against his former mates. Some of them anyway. There aren't that many around from his days, as there's fresh boys on both sides.
We see the Blues went 1 for 7, scoring on their 7th chance. By that time, they were trailing 2-0. Luongo's attempt to clear the puck, blocked by David Backes. He feeds Koliakovo across to Steen. McDonald finding Koliakovo, takes the drive, slowed up as it skimmed off Burrows. Steen has to reload, and by that time, Kessler gets the puck free and forced it back to center.
His skating, it just allows him to either get open offensively or close defensively on the other side.
McDonald, little shake and bake at the line, but he's met by Johnson, who's back out there. Backus with it, put off nicely by Salo. Canucks were middle of the pack in both their power play and their penalty kill. Blues on the power play 8th best, 20.5% in the regular season. David Braun fires short side, he missed the net. Comes around to Koliakovo with 38 seconds to go in the O'Brien penalty. McDonald moving to Perron. McDonald swings out in front. Razor, little adjustment here. Weren't they operating a lot off the half boards the other night?
They did. They're trying to get pucks deeper, and they're also utilizing a lot of forwards and some different looks. They don't have the most elegant and exotic of decors when it comes to offense, primarily because of injuries to Eric Johnson and Eric Brewer, but they get nothing out of this one. The house is alive after that penalty kill.
Berglund down the middle. Play is halted as O'Brien leaves the box. And the Canucks get the job done in keeping it scoreless.
Well, that's the old line about power plays and penalty kills, your special teams, especially come playoff time, that, you know, your power play can lose you a game, your penalty kill can win you a game. And you could say that the power play cost the Blues game number one. Nice stick in the lane sweep from Salo to break that one up. And he might have been the most dynamic of all the Canuck defensemen in game number one. Not only with the goal, although I think everyone agrees, outside of the people that actually say who scored it, that it was in fact Bernier and not Salo. But defending, a good pair along with Willie Mitchell, penalty killing, you name it. They get everything from that man.
Kevin Bieksa looking for his first career playoff point in this series. High note. As the Blues force the turnover at center and slide it in. Bieksa back for Jay McClement with a hit. Bieksa hangs in there and he finds Bernier. Puck picked up by Olin. Leading it. Now here's Bernier closing and shooting, and it's blocked out in front as sprawling Jackman got it. On the wraparound, Bernier stopped there by Mason. Juggles the puck with traffic in front. The puck goes to the corner. Fired by Bieksa. Stopped by Mason. And we got no goal signal. Referee Brad Watson halts play. Waves off any thought of a goal. Chris Mason keeps it scoreless here in the second.
After fighting it out off the ice last summer, as you may recall, things got a little heated between these two front offices last summer during free agency, and it all started with David Backes. The Canucks offered the St. Louis Center a 3-year, $7.5 million deal, which was a lot more than the $850,000 that St. Louis had been paying him. And the Blues ended up matching the offer, but they were not happy about Vancouver driving the price up, so they fired back, sent off a $2.5 million offer sheet for Steve Bernier, forcing Vancouver to dig into their pockets. In the end, both teams ended up with the same guys that they started with and a whole lot less money to spend on other guys, but as we've seen so far tonight, it's working out well for both teams, huh?
It certainly is, Lindsay. In fact, to talk to Bernier and whether the offer sheet for him was a retaliation move or not, he took it as a vote of confidence in his abilities. He said, that really helped my confidence, that knowing that there were other teams interested in me.
Well, St. Louis Blues president John Davidson called it an important message to the team and to their fans that they won't be pushed around by another organization. This is how the two ended up as far as stats are concerned on the season. And Backes has turned into one of those true power forwards. You saw just before we went to break that Alain Vigneault had moved Bernier onto that line with the Sedins. That was where they thought he was going to end up at first. And ultimately, it's Burrows who's turned the Sedins into more than just a cycle duel, more of a line that can score off the rush as well.
Kessler makes through a check, back to Bieksa, sending it toward the net, looking for the tip from Pavel Demitra. Sundin had it stripped away. And Jackman has it. That pair of Jackman and Polak now working against Sundin for the moment as the Canucks making a change.
Well, that's the tough thing. The home team gets the last change. It's difficult anyway in second periods with your bench on the other side of center ice from your own net. And from time to time, the matchups can get fouled up.
Here's Backes in front, and it's poked away by Luongo. Boys return the feed to Backes in tight. He didn't have much room to work with. And Luongo poked the puck to the corner. Back comes McDonald for St. Louis. Holds up. Sends it toward the net, and it's deflected by Backes out of play.
There's more of that net drive, and both teams have a real focus on that. Backes on the tail end of it goes to the net off the turnover in the neutral zone, and that, I think we've said ad nauseum at times in these two games. Didn't quite get the handle on it to get anything on as Bieksa came firing back on big David Backes. 6'3", 230, likes to use it. Wonderful soft hands and skills once he can get that puck under control and get to the net. He's another one they need to count.
He's a Minneapolis native. Played his college hockey at Minnesota State. Second round pick in 2003 by St. Louis. And that $2.5 million offer sheet's looking like a bargain now with the season he had. Weaver, watched by Kyle Wellwood. A lot of reclamation projects on both these teams. Koliakovo, acquired from Toronto, where he'd been a elite first-round pick back in 2001, but never blossomed, and he's found a home as an offensive defenseman here in St. Louis. He's there defensively against Raymond. Trying to pick up Wellwood, cutting to the net.
Boy, there's been a lot of good plays away from the puck. Perron there.
There's a shot by Wellwood, and it looked like it hit Mason. Sent around to Perron. Pressuring for the point. It's Edler. He ends up with a puck. Across to Mitchell. TJ Oshie right on him. Raymond. Checked by Weaver. Raymond stays with it. He's with Bernier and Henrik Sedin in front as he chopped it just off the side of the goal. He has it. Henrik back out to Edler. Down he goes. Was able to make the play across to O'Brien, and he sends it wide. Mason might have picked that one up late. Weaver off the glass to center. And we get a whistle here. Looks like a hand pass perhaps. IndyCar is now on Versus Sunday at 3:30 Eastern. We head to Long Beach, where series leader Ryan Briscoe will have to fend off the best drivers in the world through the hairpin turns at Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. The IndyCar series now on Versus Sunday 3:30 Eastern. It's a new race.
Well, they've gone fairly full throttle in this one. Everybody's playing for the most part. I'm sure as this game moves along, both coaches will start to peel things down a little bit and go primarily with their top 9 forwards and mix and match. There's BJ Crombie, who's been in the grill of a lot of Canucks in this one tonight, chatting it up. That's been a primary match, though, and you know, you get a couple of games in and 5 periods in, see one another a lot. The Sedins have certainly pushed back in this one. Puck out in the neutral zone. It doesn't take much to get guys at each other. A little late hit on Edler along the boards, and in comes everyone else. Both teams sort of vowed that they were going to do more of the punishing between whistles than the guff after whistles. So we haven't seen much of it.
Dimitri trying to shoot it in, does so off Polak, and it's taken by Jackman. O'Brien back at center, now paired with Edler. We've seen a mix-up on the pairings by Vancouver, as BX is normally O'Brien's partner. Jackman. A Clements pass, read by O'Brien, steps around one man, down he goes. Dimitri down the middle, speeding through, but the play was whistled down by Derek Amell. And O'Brien ready to go with Polak, but the linesmen get there in time.
Well, you could see the Canucks trying to get that change in to get BX on the ice, and a lot of times, especially in second periods, they'll split the D pairs off the face-off to try to get proper matchups. They're going to take O'Brien here, who looked like he was trying to square off with Polak on the tail end of this play. There he was stepping up in the neutral zone, can do a lot of things. In the regular season, he racked up 196 penalty minutes, which led the Canucks. He's one of those guys that if you say to him it looks like snow, he hears you want to go, and the gloves hit the ice. They called a slash on him on the tail end of all that. So it ends up being a costly takeaway turnover by O'Brien in neutral ice.
Johnson wins the defensive zone draw. Raymond slides the puck down the ice. And the Blues, who had one shot on goal in their first opportunity, go to work once again. The shots in the game 11 apiece as we near the midway point of the second period with still no score. Boyes maneuvers in, 16 goals on the power play in the regular season. Looking for Backus behind the net. Salo heads for the corner. Beaten to it in there by McDonald. Koliakovo. Nice addition on this power play when he came from the Leafs in November. McDonald closing in, shoots, and it's blocked by Mitchell, and the puck ends up in the mesh and drops into the first row of seats with 1:17 to go on the penalty to O'Brien.
Trying to get that net presence. Backus in there again, trying to disrupt Roberto Luongo, and coming off the wall, Andy McDonald, who's got great wheels and a good shot, tried to get that one through. They've employed forwards on the point on their power play. They've got Oshie out here right now to man a point along with Wojciechowski, and trying to get shots through from distance with people in front. That's the primary focus, it seems, right now for St. Louis.
Lindsay Soto chatted with Keith Tkachuk before the game, and that was a point of emphasis from Tkachuk. We need to get more shots toward the net. Didn't shoot enough. Half their shots came in even strength on Wednesday night in game 1. 13 of 26. They had 9 with those 7 power plays. Patrick Berglund with a drive that's deflected out of play. 55 seconds remaining in the penalty.
Rick, this is the same thing that was costly for the Blues during that 2-man advantage early in game 1. Lots of time in the attacking zone with the puck. Lots of emphasis on taking the puck to the net, but they can't get it through. That phalanx of Canuck defenders is tough to get a puck through.
Boys out in front. McDonald tips it on goal. Great save by Luongo on Backus. 2 tremendous stops by Roberto Luongo. And we get a tripping penalty indicated with Backus dumped out in front. Rooney trying to keep the peace over near the benches while Brad Watson's got a penalty call.
And meantime, Luongo and Boyce are just having a chat about, wow, how about that one? Even Luongo wants to look up and see it again. They win the draw, which has been a big key on special teams. Little flick shot gets through and bam! Larceny with the left pad. What a stop. In tight, the length of the left pad and leg. He did that to Andy McDonald on the power play in game 1. The high tip finds it through traffic. Good interior positioning by Backus. Answered by Luongo. Fabulous.
In the first period, he made 2 saves off deflections. Once that went off him, hit the crossbar in a try by McDonald at just about the same range at the other end of the ice. But he's had to deal with a number of deflections and has been brilliant when called upon. So it's Backus going for tripping at 10:53 as we're 4-on-4 for about another 30 seconds. And then Vancouver will get its second power play chance. Here's Henrik Sedin waiting it out behind the net. The pass in front to Daniel.
Boy, the Canucks brought both defensemen to the net, and that opened up some space for Daniel Sedin.
Henrik sends it toward the net, deflected. Olin shooting from point-blank range. And it's deflected wide. Now it's Polak with it. Turns away from Henrik Sedin. He's under pressure. He sees a twin each way he looks. Daniel on one side, Henrik on the other. Polak dumps it in. Now as O'Brien leaves the box, 1:12 remaining on the penalty to Backus, and a second power play chance for the Canucks. They had 1 shot in their opening opportunity as Olin drives it in. Comes to Pavel Dimitri. He'll hook it back to Bieksa. Heino. Penalty killing forward up high there. Kessler dishes it to Bieksa. Across to Edler, winding. Fires to Kessler. Out in front. It's tipped just wide by Dimitra.
Good patience by Ryan Kessler and vision to try to feed that in front. Quite the ambush that the Canucks have going now. First 4-on-4 and now here with the extra man.
36 seconds remaining on the penalty to Backus. Edler makes his way up ice. The pass to Dimitra. For 7 years, a member of the Blues trying to burn him here. Out in front, Edler shoots, and it's deflected over the net.
Can't hit the net. Defensemen are very active right now for Vancouver.
Salo in front. Shot just wide by Matt Sundin. Mason wants a whistle. He'll get it with 14 seconds to go in the Blues penalty.
While many times defensemen are the most lethal in the incursions into the offensive zone, on the tail end of a couple of chances for Canuck D-man, look at the patience of Kessler to feed that one back out in front. Nice play defensively by Weaver. If he doesn't come across there and at least foul up Dimitra, this might not be a scoreless game anymore, and that's what he's thinking about on the Canuck bench. Close on the back door.
Henrik Sedin on his face-off with Burrows, and Daniel working with him up front. Daniel Sedin returning the feed to Edler. 6 seconds remaining on the Vancouver power play. Daniel feeding inside of the goal. To Henrik, back to Daniel, firing, and it's blocked, comes out to Edler, penalty over. Henrik shoots, a save by Mason, knocked down into the net with a glove by Burrows, waved off immediately. Behind the net by the referee, Brad Watson.
Anarchy.
Well, the officials will sort this out and make it official. Right now, no score here in the second. Pavel Demitra and the Canucks were pressing, thought they had one, but that goal waved off as we have a look at it here.
Look at the humanity going out to contest the original shot, though. They work around it, volleyballed in by one of the best ball hockey players ever in Alex Burrows, and you can't do that. You got to use your stick, and even your stick has to be below the crossbar, 4 feet off the ice if you're going to bunt something like that in. But that's the first puck we've seen in a net here tonight.
Yes. You can't even use your hands when you're playing that pregame soccer game that players now play out in the hallway outside the dressing room to warm up. You should know that. Well, since the Canucks initiated the stoppage, the face-off brought outside the center. Jackman with it for St. Louis. The pass out of the reach of Tkachuk. Olin reaches it. Knocked down by Oshie to hold it in. And we get a whistle and a bench penalty for too many men on the ice against St. Louis.
It's the challenge of line matching in middle periods. And as they were trying to get their change in, Oshie was coming to the bench. I think the mix-up was more so on the back end, trying to get their defense changed. They had too many men on the ice.
Penalty, too many men on the ice, bench minor.
So the Canucks will go on another power play. There was only one minor in the first period, and now they're starting to stack up here in the middle. So there's 4 Blues there, 5 Blues there. You can see Oshie's going off. One of the defensemen is going off. I think it was Koliakovo, and they've got too many guys on, and they have possession. Dinged with that one. Big penalty kill upcoming for St. Louis.
St. Louis third in the league in the regular season on the penalty kill. Took care of 5 of 6 shorthanded situations on Wednesday night in Game 1. Face-off won by Henrik Sedin. However, Salo has to come to center. Salo credited with that 1 power play goal. It turned out to be the winner. Daniel Sedin over for Henrik. Back to Daniel. Bernier out in front. The pass anticipated by Heinold. He tipped it to the point. Henrik across. Bieksa shooting. Knocked down by Mason. Loose at the side. Bernier tried to tuck it home. It comes back. Salo drives and it's blocked in front. Worked free by Weaver. And he makes sure he gets a good hold on it before he flips it down the ice.
Boy, the Blues are living charmed right now. That came awfully close. Obviously, Mason thought he had it in his glove. It wasn't. And good puck movement is orchestrating these opportunities for the Canucks right now.
Close call there. A close call certainly in the Burrows play. And a close call in the one where Mason had the puck shot underneath him by Bieksa with an open side of the net. And was fortunate to make the save and get a whistle there early on. Here's Sundin trying to step around Oshie. He encounters Jay McKee, the veteran defenseman. Backus reverses and down the ice. 50 seconds to go on the call being served by David Perron. Edler fires it in as Mason stays put. Sundin has Kessler in the corner. Wellwood on this unit up front as well. Polak with it. Canucks get it back and out to Edler. And Sundin, who brought a 13-game goalless streak from the regular season into this series. That shot by Edler is tipped just wide as Wellwood has it. Edler one-times it, and it's blocked out in front. Cleared down the ice by Steen.
Trying to boom away, and Kessler, who ended up with a broken finger last year in the playoffs in his first ever Stanley Cup playoff game, took that one in the hand. And this power play is going nowhere and has gone nowhere. Good kill for St. Louis. Wow.
They keep it scoreless. Playing the blue zone. It's swept to center to Perron, the penalized player back on for St. Louis. Mitchell stays with the youngster. First round pick from 2007 by the Blues. Jackman compacts the play. His try hits the side of the goal. McDonald with it. Tucks it out in front, and it's cleared away by Burrows, who is down low, defending against Keith Tkachuk. Pass cut off by Brad Boyes. Tkachuk with it. Hits Boyes with the pass. Olin shoved him off the puck. And out come the Sedins with Burrows to center. The pass to Daniel Sedin. And for Burrows, sweeping it on goal. A save by Mason. Henrik Sedin run into the net by Tkachuk. And the officials go to work to keep the peace with no score in the second. Bill, thanks very much. We've seen some tremendous goaltending in this one, Darryl.
Well, goaltending and the play of guys in front of these two gentlemen defensively. Chris Mason admitted to some nerves in game one. He doesn't look very nervous here in game two, and even in game one he didn't look like he was vacillating all that much. They're tough to beat.
Edler off the draw, shooting it. Mason out to make the save. Shots 15-13 unofficially Canucks. Clement stopped at his tracks, and Vancouver coming up with it. Back comes O'Brien. He'll get it in behind the defense. Pull out. We'll take it. Played parts of a couple of seasons and now a full-time Blue this year, and has really found a role, playing about 20 minutes a game as the partner of Barrett Jackman in the absence of their captain Eric Brewer, who went out with back trouble back in December, as we get another standoff in front of the net.
We haven't seen a couple of guys from the Canuck fourth line for a while. Rippon and Hordichuk are out here with Wellwood for a brief shift to give a breather to others late in the second period. There's Alain Vigneault, who used the word confused to describe how he felt after the team was whistled for a multitude of penalties in game number one. The Canucks like to play an aggressive game, and they trust that they'll kill off penalties. And both these teams late in the regular season killed off almost everything, and it's continued on here into the postseason.
Well, the Canucks have been almost unbeatable here at home for 2 months. They're 14-1-1, including the game one win here at GM Place. And of course the Blues finished the season 9-1-1 in their last 11, playing 6 of their final 7 games on the road. Well, a lot was going right in a lot of situations for both these teams. Boy, a pass to McDonald, shooting, and it hit the post. It bounced away. Wojciechowski saves it for St. Louis. Andy McDonald has just missed on a number of occasions tonight. McKee holds the play in for St. Louis. Mitchell back for it. Waiting at the point, it's Brad Boyes. Wellwood charges out at him. Boyes with it. The pass tipped by McDonald in front. He's been crafty with those tips all night. McDonald firing. That's blocked by Mitchell. McDonald won a Stanley Cup with the Anaheim Ducks in 2007. A tip there by Backes. Luongo another save. Salo trying to ease the pressure. And Winchester for another thrust for St. Louis. That shot deflected out of play into the netting by Salo.
Well, that long stick, long shank defending of Salo may have saved the Canucks, who got away with a bad line change. Turned it over, back they came the other direction. That man, Roberto Luongo, has allowed exactly 1 goal now in almost 11 full periods of play. If you date back to a couple of shutouts late in the season, and then just the 1 goal that he gave up. He's been fortunate in this one too, but any goalie will tell you, Rick, well, why would I stop the ones that aren't going to go in? So if they're going to hit the pipe, I'll listen for them.
Well, he has had to deal with about a half dozen tough deflections. Here's a shot in and out of his glove. The puck's still up for grabs, and the Canucks come up with it.
Sloppy play there. That should have been covered up. You get the sense that that's probably the way a puck's going to end up in the net in this one. There you go!
Did they score? Sundin deflects it home off the try by Dimitra. And the Canucks break through.
They crammed the net at the other end on Luongo, and they went hard to the crease area, got caught, chased back toward their own goal, and off the rush. Little interchange, a flick toward the net, wonderful hand-eye coordination, and a dribbler through Chris Mason. What a perfect tip. No question the Blues will ask, was that deflected from below the crossbar? I don't think there's any question it was. And that puck had to be up on end late in the period with the ice as snowy as it is to roll up its sleeves and work its way to the back of the onion bag.
Sundin's 36th career goal, and this is 85th Stanley Cup game.
And he's been ripped locally for his lack of foot speed and overall game. That time hustled to get to the net.
Well, off his performance in Game 1, Razor, he looks like a new man as he's played well all through this contest. And he scores from Dimitra and Kessler at 18:04 late in this second period. Vancouver takes the lead. We've got a penalty call upcoming.
I'm going to go right on the power play here, too. Crombeen is going to get the gate for interference.
St. Louis penalty, 26. Interference.
Here it is. On the forecheck, Burrows comes in. It's just he sets a pick for Jackman to come in. And demonstratively, Burrows sells it as hard as he could along the end board. So, guy who got his feet wet in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year with the Dallas Stars will sit and cheer with $1:29 to go in the second frame.
Third consecutive penalty taken by the Blues in this second period. Overall, our fifth power play chance of this second period. With 1:21 remaining in the period, Olin with a pass down low. Kessler pulls the trigger, kicked out by Mason. Edler across, and he fires, and it's sent wide. It comes hard around the boards and back to center. Dimitra. Around for Kessler, Sundin. Weaver operates against him. Blues come up with it with under a minute to go in the period and clear it. Matthias Olin has Dimitra on the re-entry, lined up on the hit by Barrett Jackman. Dimitra picks up the puck, dropping it back to Olin. Bernier's parked right out in front of Mason. Henrik Sedin looks that way. Backus, however, closed in. And the Blues clear it out with 32 seconds before the second intermission.
They need to get there, too. Killing too many penalties. They've given up the only goal.
Daniel Sedin. Down to Henrik out of that corner where he loves to operate from. Daniel back to Henrik. Bieksa, the one-timer, scuffs it as he's backing up. 10 seconds to go in the period. Back comes Jay McClement. 3 shorthanded goals in the regular season to lead the Blues. Missed the net here. But Daniel Sedin with little time as he hits the line. He'll fire. He'll send it wide of Mason. And the horn sounds, ending the second period. 31 seconds to go on the call against Crombeen. And Vancouver getting the lead late in the second period. They'll have more time with a man advantage when period 3 gets underway. Our shots 18-16 favoring the Canucks. Stay tuned for the Verizon Wireless Intermission Report with Bill Patrick, Keith Jones, and Brian England coming up after the break here on Versus.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs on Versus are brought to you by Bud Light. With just the right taste that never fills you up, the difference is drinkability.
Back in beautiful Vancouver, Canada, the Canucks and Blues getting ready to start the third period. Inside GM Place, we are high in the rafters. Lindsay Soto alongside John Davidson, the president of hockey operations for the Blues. A team that he could very well have split up at the trade deadline, but you kept them together. Probably didn't think that decision was going to pay off this early, though.
Well, the previous 2 trade deadlines, Lindsay, we had made a bunch of deals out of necessity to rebuild the youth in our organization. This time around, we felt our team was playing pretty well. We'd already gone through that. We have a lot more assets. So let's give these guys a chance to play. And for Keith Tkachuk in particular, he's a St. Louis Blue who's played his tail off, and we're glad we did what we did. Whoa, what a save. Sometimes you get lucky too, so we're happy with the way things are going.
Real quick, want to find out about Paul Correa, who apparently is skating. Have you heard any updates on whether or not you're likely to get him back maybe in Game 3?
I don't know about Game 3. He's in Vail, Colorado, where he's working out with a doctor who did the surgeries. He's skating, and he's skating very, very well, but it's a big step just to step in here after being out for a few months. So if he gets his way back to St. Louis and practices with the team, then we'll go from there.
JD, thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Lindsay. And a former life, JD might have reacted to that save with a whoa, baby. His announcing days with the Rangers. And many networks as we get a whistle. What a stop by Mason as that penalty on the carryover has expired.
Well, JD jumped in on that one. He might get a game fee after leaping in on the tail end of that one. Another piece of class from the Sedins. Time Henrik gets stymied point blank. Chris Mason has not lost 2 games in a row since early January. He doesn't want that streak to stop here tonight.
Backus gets tossed out of the face-off circle, so the Blues survive the remaining time on that penalty to Crombie. Here's a tip by Dimitri, and it reached Mason. He turns it aside. It's 1-0 Canucks on that late second period goal by Matt Sundin on a deflection. We've had deflections all over the place tonight. And that's the only one that has counted for a goal in this one. Luongo a stop on Backus, who'll get a whistle. Let's take a look at our United States Marine Corps storyline.
Well, Roberto's been a story here again tonight in the pipes for Vancouver. A larcenous stop on Backus there. He's been fortunate too. He's got a long time not giving up very much. Matt Sundin with the only tally of the contest so far and has played well. He's been noticeable here in game 2.
Wearing an early playoff battle scar to go along with that goal. Brad Boyes kept at bay here by Sato. Puck gathered in by Ryan Kessler, who once again has put forth a pretty impressive line of stats. This time he is on the score sheet. An assist to go along with 4 shots, a couple of hits, and 3 blocked shots. McDonald across the line. Sato trying to derail him, helped out by his partner Mitchell. They come up with a puck. Sundin, a 38-year-old, giving the puck to Speedy Mason Raymond. He'll step in around Weaver. Let's get it back with Bernier shooting a save. Rebound popped wide by Raymond. This pass off the stick of Bernier. They'll get it back down low to Wellwood. Spinning on Weaver, trying to march in front. The try there by Raymond's deflected over the net. And another turnover. Bernier with it, firing, and it's tipped wide by Wellwood.
This line was great in game 1 for the Canucks. They've come up with some snarl here to start the 3rd period. Mason Raymond with that speed. Wellwood, who's very good with the puck, and Big Bernier.
We get an icing call against Vancouver here. Canucks, including game 1, 31-0-3, their record when leading going into the 3rd period, and they certainly protected a lead on Wednesday well.
It's how they protect the lead, though, Rick. They don't sit back. They talked about not doing that. They've come out here in the 3rd period with a 1-goal lead tonight and come close twice to adding to it. Best defense is a good offense.
They started the 3rd period Wednesday by winning the first 9 faceoffs and building a 14-2 shot advantage and nursing that 2-1 lead. And Roberto Luongo talking yesterday, he said the tendency is to sit back when you've got that lead, but he says we've been able to fight that tendency, build some confidence in keeping pushing on the other team.
He's their captain, he's their voice, he's their franchise around here right now. First captain goalie since Bill Durnan back in 1947. He'll probably be Canada's goaltender in 2010, although he'll get challenged by others. He's played for the Canadian national team 7 times, and he has been tough to beat come playoff time. Not that many playoff games, but when he has been in there, he's been almost perfect.
With a career goals against average of about 1.7 and a save percentage approaching 95%. Little offensive support, and he's on his way. Right now he's got 1 goal to support. Here's Ryan Johnson with speed, firing right through the crease, and it deflects off the corner boards to center. O'Brien. Puck deflected in by Rippon, right into the glove of Chris Mason. Jay McKee looking for McDonald, sends it by him. Canucks have to play it. Mitchell. Certainly key in that first contest. He played 6.5 minutes of shorthanded ice time, and that came in handy as they killed off those first 6 Blues power plays, and finally Mason forced to cover the puck.
There's
pressured by Daniel Sedin.
That speed from Mason Raymond made that
Well, the Stanley Cup Playoffs on Versus. Every second counts. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. It's another chapter in one of the best rivalries on ice. With the top-seeded Bruins in the Eastern Conference host the Montreal Canadiens in Game 2 of their quarterfinal series. Habs and Bruins. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern right here on Versus.
It was quite a Game 1.
Certainly was. Sundin locks up there with McClement. Turns on him from his knees, trying to stuff it in front. Just couldn't get around the side of the goal. Now stumbling to get to his skates as the play moves up ice. He's shaken up a little bit. Alex Steen across that line. We now get the whistle for Mike Civic. And collision results. They've had a couple of late offside calls, and this is what happens when you have those.
Some feisty guys in the middle of that, too. Matt Sundin got up really gingerly after blowing something out. It wasn't from the hit or the joust. It was right here as he goes to get himself back up again, and I think push off, and something gave way. Well, he looks like he's in round 3 already.
He sure does. He
it's hard
seemed to be favoring his left leg as he got to the bench.
It's hard to believe, though, that the prior 6 seasons for Matt Sundin, he'd only played 24 playoff games. It is in a way, and it is, and he was in Toronto with the Leafs. But getting a taste here again, it's the reason he came back. It was a master move by Mike Gillis, the general manager here in Vancouver, to talk him into it, land him, and hope that he can be one of those pieces that can push them through the first, second, third, and ultimately a Stanley Cup.
Has never reached the Stanley Cup Finals. The closest he came was in '99. His Leafs lost out to Buffalo in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Sabres going on to lose to Dallas in the Stanley Cup Final that year. Henrik Sedin launches the backhand pass. It lands right on Daniel's stick. Burrows pressuring Jackman. Edler pinches in. Off the boards, it came in front. Jackman saw it first. He tried to send Backus alone in on Luongo. And Luongo corrals that puck.
That's what the Blues had trouble with in the third period here the other night, was the pinching Vancouver defensemen keeping a lot of their forechecks alive. And they couldn't get out of their own zone clean.
Alex Burrows, a 28-goal man in the regular season. Shot into the chest right off the blue note of Mason. Jackman ahead for Backus. His pass hit Raymond and deflects back into the St. Louis zone.
They have to find a way to get pucks deep, clean, and then get after the Canuck defense and force some mistakes closer to Roberto Luongo.
Blues throughout the regular season known as a strong lineup with balanced lines that can grind you down, as Ken Hitchcock, the Columbus coach, has noted. They can really wear you out, but they just haven't been able to get into that routine.
They have to do it, though. It's going to be difficult to just rely on their power play to get it done.
Here's a try for Berglund, shooting. It's off the glove of Luongo and off to the corner. The kid line goes to work for St. Louis. Raymond takes it back for the Canucks.
It's only the second shot of the game for this trio, but they've played better and well. They forced some time in the offensive zone, created a power play for St. Louis they couldn't cash in on. But they've been much more noticeable here in Game 2 than Game 1.
Braun throws the hit on Bernier in the benches. Oshie with a shot. And it's over the net. And rebounds all the way back into the blue zone. Jay McKee working with Roy Witka, who came from Edmonton in the Chris Pronger deal. Pronger going to the Oilers, and of course, later on reaching the Stanley Cup Finals with Edmonton. Andy McDonald scoots in on Olin. Kachuk with it. In behind a Winchester, he tests Luongo right along the goal line, and back comes Sundin on a 3-on-2 for the Canucks. Pavel Demitra down the left side to Sundin, fires a save there by Mason. Crombie slides the puck back toward Luongo.
Well, it was a similar play to how Sundin scored in the second period. A close play at the net on Luongo, and then they got chasing back toward Mason, and they almost cash in a second time.
Canucks on the forecheck here. Mitchell backs them up. His pass, however, hit Burrows, deflects to center. Working for it, Crombie. He'll draw a penalty on Burrows. And St. Louis gets a much-needed power play opportunity nearly 7 minutes into the third period with Vancouver leading 1-0.
Alex Burrows sits sequestered for his ice crime. Right at neutral ice, a puck battle for a loose puck between Burrows and B.J. Crombie. And it was one of the guys who took penalties late in that second period. The Blues, he sold it pretty good. The Blues were taking penalties late in the period. It puts the St. Louis power play on the attack. How about this one? And you know Tkachuk's going to get out here. He scored more goals than the entire healthy roster of the Blues in this series right now.
Puck shot down the ice by the Canucks, and Koldiakovo, who finished the regular season with 14 of his final 19 points with a man advantage. Quarterbacking his power play. Raymond shovels it in behind for Mitchell. Steen kept it alive to Brad Boyce. Boyce circles, he'll fire, and it's tipped by Sato out of play.
They have a tough time with that. One of the reasons the Canucks are a very good defensive team in front of Roberto Luongo, they've got a big defense core that use their sticks well. That's a couple of times we've seen Salo get his stick out there to send a puck up into the netting in behind. And if you don't do things quick enough on your power play, they close those lanes down on you. Olin's the same way. Willie Mitchell's the same way. Bieksa can do it. Got a lot of guys on the back end that'll give it up.
Of course, the big play that Vancouver's been looking for, and they know the Blues well. They played them 4 times during the season, is that cross-ice pass to Boyce in the circle for the one-timer. They haven't either gone to it or had it available. Here's Backus in front. It's stopped. Steen with it. He'll fire. That's blocked by Rippon. McDonald with it. Across to Koldiakovo. Now Boyce. And a good distance away from the net. Watched closely by Kessler. Koldiakovo fires a diving block in front. Luongo plays the puck away. Boyce has it back. Out in front. Oh, and a stop by Luongo. There's McDonald ripped it on goal. He's dropped by Rippon as the play is held.
Andy McDonald's going to see Pipes and Luongo in his nightmares. This is a fantabulous stop against the grain again with those lightning quick legs. They're running McDonald around as sort of a rover. Look at that, labeled against the grain. Luongo gets across, and a spine-tingling stop here. Boom! Right back at you. Goaltending at its highest level. When they break down, he's back there for them with stops like that. Wow. 55
seconds remaining in the Burrows penalty. Wojciechowski, the one-timer, hit his man Berglund in front. He could only backhand the puck wide as his stick broke. Mitchell trying to fire it out and hit Perron, and now is able to bounce it back down the ice.
Boy, timely saves from your goaltender, though. They've gotten it from Roberto Luongo in these first 2 games. And time after time, it's Andy McDonald.
All different types of shots.
Both sides of the ice, you name it.
He's dug into his bag of tricks, McDonald has, and Luongo's matched him every time. Perron shooting, and it's steered wide by Mitchell. 18 seconds to go on the Burrows call. Wojciechowski. Now to Patrick Berglund. Fires across. Oshie shoots. Stopped by Luongo. The rebound dropped just out of the reach of Tkachuk. Berglund has it back. Fires it back to Oshie. Now Wojciechowski fires. That's blocked. 2 forwards dove for it. Mason Raymond and Ryan Johnson. Burrows is back. The penalty's expired. Perron trying to spin away from Salo. And the puck is poked to center.
Well, that's as good as the Blues power play has looked so far, and that's as good as you're going to get out of Roberto Luongo.
And he's getting lots of help. When you get forwards, 1 from each side, almost in synchronized motion, diving headfirst to block the shot. That helps. Here's Daniel Sedin dancing out in front, followed up by Burrows. In behind to Henrik. Is Daniel in front, and it's worked away by Polak. From the point, it's Bieksa missed the net. Burrows with it on the wraparound, and the goal mouth kicked wide by Daniel Sedin, and the wraparound. They score! Burrows jams it home. It's 2-0 Vancouver.
Well, that's the ebb and the flow of playoff hockey. Good move by Alain Vigneault. Comes with the Sedins. out of the penalty kill, and the guy that comes out of the box ultimately scores it. There's that snappy stop with the glove on Oshie by Luongo at one end. They stay with this. The cram play, good play by Palak in front. They can't get to Burrows, though, who brings it from behind the net. One move. Right here, wrong side. Both defensemen are on one side. Backus filled him in on the tail end of it. But what a tally for Alex Burrows. There's a local pub that put up a contest this year, the Village Tap House. They picked a bad year to pick Burrows as their guy. Every time he scored, they had to pour drinks. Scored 12 goals last year, 28 this year. They poured 4,000 drinks. I think they stopped it come playoff time.
It's a new season. That puck ends up on the Vancouver bench.
Next year, I'd say, pick Shane O'Brien.
Daniel Sedin and Henrik Sedin. Assist on Burrows' first of the series at 9:46.
Well, they get through that power play for the Blues that came oh so close twice. And then counterpunch. And now have some breathing room here midway through the third. This place is electric. It's a checking game now for the Canucks. And the task now for St. Louis is really uphill. Their power play can't cash in, and they can't get anything past Luongo.
Alex Steen moving it ahead for Crombeen from the wing. Fires! And he sends it just wide. It comes right back for Dimitra. Taken away by McLennan. Worked free by Kessler. But the play is whistled out offside. 9:44 to go in the third period of game 2. The Canucks have a cushion thanks to Alex Burrows.
I watched Roberto Luongo at the end of the morning skate here today. Worked for about 10 minutes on the goal that beat him in game number 1, and he hasn't surrendered one here in game 2. And that's kind of the way he has to go about his business in the postseason. The Canucks are not giving him a ton of goal support. In years past, just a goal and a half a game. So his margin for error is almost nil.
And what's really scary for the opposition as the Canucks feel they can go for quite a run in the playoffs is the fact that he missed 2 months because of a groin injury. He's played 1,000 less minutes than he normally does. He should have plenty of gas in the tank, and I'm sure that's the feeling of a team like New Jersey with Martin Brodeur, with all the time that he missed and expecting to make a long run in the playoffs. So Luongo becomes extra dangerous as that puck spins to the point. It's held in by High Note for St. Louis. Knocked down by Luongo. He's got plenty of help there.
He's not great in that area once he gets outside of the net, but he's, for the most part, gotten through that in the first 2 games of this series.
Perhaps needs more support in that spot than he does on the scoreboard.
There you go.
Polak drags the puck in, inviting a hit. The play whistled offside. It's tough to hear whistles out there the way this crowd has been making noise at GM Place.
Yeah, they've been vibrating pretty good here tonight. And they're used to seeing success in this building. As you mentioned earlier, the Canucks are on quite a run on home ice. And that, too, is the task for the Blues. You know, starting on the road, they're going to welcome a trip back to the Gateway City. They've been on the road for a long, long time. Finished up the season on the road, had to pack to come straight here and open this series against the Canucks.
Well, with the magical turnaround they've had, certainly Chris Mason was 3-13-1 into January with his start, and playing now his 35th game in a row. And leading this team not only into the playoffs but up to 6th place. That streak that we were talking about that the Canucks have been on here at home, 14-1-1, that was after they lost 9 straight at home. So both these teams with dramatic turnarounds. Just to create this matchup for us here in the opening round. Puck dumped in by Henrik Sedin. Weaver moving it along as it's played over the stick of Oshie. Daniel Sedin swerves away from Perron, lifts it in the air as the Canucks go for a change. Here's Kessler down the middle. He comes away with it. His try is deflected by Weaver out of play.
Well, here are the brackets in the Western Conference. This game here tonight was looking like a reasonable facsimile of that Anaheim-San Jose opener that the Ducks won. They're up 1-0 in that one. Columbus and Detroit. Detroit looks like the class in that one so far. And then a very quick overtime in the Chicago-Calgary game.
And controversial.
Wow.
With Andrew Ladd right in the crease there with Mika Kiprusoff.
Yes, and it was much talked about around here today, but you don't turn that puck over, it's a moot point.
McDonald. He's been the most dangerous Blue tonight, no question about it. 7.5 to go in the third period. They've got an uphill climb down 2-0. Boys races to center. He'll continue on. McDonald fires. Saved by Luongo. It might have kissed the post after he got his glove on it and stayed out.
It did. You could see what the Blues were trying to do there. Spread the Canucks a little bit so that they could hit the Vancouver blue line with speed and then test Luongo, and it worked beautifully.
Well, it's one thing to be snake bitten with a goalie stopping you or the post stopping you, but twice now McDonald has been stopped by Luongo and a post on the same shot. Bieksa with Tkachuk working away from behind. It's played into the zone by Bernier, and Polak pressured by Raymond. Sturdy Roman Polak will start it out. Bernier comes across to derail him, gives him a ride right along the rail in front of the Vancouver bench as Luongo covers the puck.
And gets his first snow shower, this time from Tkachuk, who was just putting the brakes on. There's a mini controversy around here. Here's that chance off the rush. Andy McDonald, a ripper, dances its way across the crossbar and then harmlessly waffles over away from Luongo and the on-charging St. Louis Blues. Boy, that was close again. That's 3 in the game for McDonald that have gone off the red pipe.
Now McClement, who is the best face-off man in game 1 for St. Louis, going 10-7. Dueling here with Henrik Sedin. McClement going in after it. Moves it to Crombie. A November acquisition off waivers from Dallas. His father Mike played for the Blues back in the early 80s. McClement wheeling and dealing with that puck. Ran out of room against Alexander Edler. They've got Steen waiting out in front. Oh, Luongo, a stop there on Crombie.
That's what the Blues need to do more of, and needed to start earlier in the game on it, which is getting pucks deep, outworking the Canuck D to get those pucks from in behind the goal line and feeding it in front.
Daniel Sedin's open. Mason the stop. He covers it up as Burrows is knocked away from the Blues net. 2-0 Vancouver entering the late going of the third.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs on Versus are brought to you by Verizon Wireless, America's largest mobile-to-mobile calling family, and by Men's Rogaine Foam. Use it or lose it.
With goals by Matt Sundin and Alex Burrows, it's a 2-0 Vancouver lead with 5:55 to play in the third period. The shots are 26-24 Vancouver, and with the offensive zone draw, the Sundins go to work. Burrows will take the face-off against David Backes, a converted centerman from mid-season. And he has fit in very nicely in that pivot position for the Blues. Back with the puck, it's Mitchell. Burrows off the open wing and down the ice. We'll get an icing call against Vancouver. Polak back for it, and there's the whistle. Let's have a look at tonight's Bud Light difference maker.
Well, he's been the guy who's been impossible to beat tonight. Roberto Luongo in the pipes for Vancouver, working on 1 goal allowed on almost 300 minutes now, looking for his clean sheet here in game 2. He's been fortunate at times, but he's also been brilliant at times.
Well, he had a shutout streak carrying over from the regular season of 184.5 minutes, ended by Brad Boyes in the second period in game 1 on Wednesday. And he's carried on from there. Boyes with a puck, winding, firing, on goal. Luongo an easy stop relatively, and he'll get the whistle.
Well, the goal that they've beaten him on, and it sounds weird to even say that, but that's it. One goal to match the number on his back was a rebound. And it's sort of the forte of the offense of the St. Louis Blues. Kind of meat and potatoes. They've had opportunities when it's just been mano-a-mano shooter and Luongo and haven't been able to beat them. But it's rebounds. Generate the rebound and drive the net. That's what they're primarily looking for.
If not for any sustained period of time in either game one or this one, Razor had the opportunity to really put sustained pressure on Vancouver.
Lots of block shots in front. They've done that too. Their defensive block a ton of shots here again tonight.
Berglund stick handles through center. It's clogged up by Olin and company. Oshie. And it worked free by Kessler. Mitra dumps it in. Canucks will change.
Boy, the checking is fierce now for Vancouver. It's a defending game for them. It's idy over. Send it deep, pick people up, head on a swivel, and get it out.
Olin high off the glass. Doesn't waste any time in getting it out, but he dumped it in the penalty box.
Andy McDonald in the regular season scored twice as many goals on the road as he did at home, 10 versus 5. And he could have a boatload in this one. 3 pipes and was absolutely robbed by Luongo on another one. He's been active. His skating gets him into scoring areas, and he's had prime opportunities to beat the goaltender and hasn't been able to do it clean.
Ironically, he's one St. Louis shooter who's had success against Luongo in the past. Pollock getting it on goal. Luongo the save as McDonald with the Ducks in 2007 had a hat trick against Vancouver. Luongo gave up 2 of those goals, and the third one against his partner at that time, Danny Sabrin.
Keith Tkachuk's good on the dot. That's how their goal in game 1 was generated. He won another one, and he's about to win this one.
Jackman spins it to Steen. From the boards, fires through traffic. Might have clipped a stick on its way to Luongo, but he's right there and out to meet the shot.
Might want to try a different guy against Tkachuk if you're Vancouver here. That's 2 in a row. Luongo has absorbed both right on the dorsal fin of that orca on his chest. And here comes the change. They'll bring the Sedins out, and Henrik will take a shot at beating Tkachuk on this dot.
And Tkachuk wins another one. Tkachuk protects the puck, lost his helmet. Tried to get it out in front, taken over by Burrows. And the Canucks dump it in. Daniel Sedin striding in after Pollock. And Pollock gets there first for the touch. And they're kept apart by Derek Amell, the linesman.
And there's some lobbying going on from Andy Murray about penalties. Tkachuk getting upended in the attacking zone. And then that down at the other end. You're not supposed to make contact on icings. So Keith Tkachuk gets a breather. I don't know. I'd leave him out there to win the draw. He's been a tough guy to match up against on the dot. They'll try it again with Backus in the circle.
Backus boys in Perron on for St. Louis. Koliakovo. One threat for the point, shooting, and a blocker save. Delayed penalty upcoming here against Vancouver. That shot deflected by Perron, just went wide, and the Canucks will be given a call with 4:03 to play in the third.
So a costly icing. They're forced to go back into their own zone, try to win another one, and off of that draw, Willie Mitchell gets a hooky minor. It's a double blow to Alain Vigneault's side because Mitchell's a great penalty killer. So they lose another face-off. That's 4 in a row. Mitchell off to the left-hand side, and there's the hand up as he tried to make sure that nobody could get clean to the net. Big opportunity. They have to score here. That's pretty obvious.
St. Louis with an 11-8 shot advantage in the third period, getting an opportunity with a power play. Their 4th chance, second in succession. They've had the third period's 2 power play opportunities. Boys had it taken away by Kessler. He sends Burrows on his way. Burrows with 4 shorthanded goals in the regular season. Tried to send in Kessler, who throws a shoulder on Koliakovo. Mason has to play that spinning puck to Koliakovo. Out ahead for Steen. Steen, whose father Thomas starred with Winnipeg for a number of years, 14 years in the league. In fact, Andy Murray was an assistant coach when his dad was playing for the Jets.
His father was the first European-trained player to have his number retired in the National Hockey League, number 25, with the Winnipeg franchise. I remember when he came over from the Toronto Maple Leafs, the belief in Toronto was that they didn't really know exactly what he was. Is he this type of player? Is he that type of player? Well, he's been a checking style player for Andy Murray, always on the right side of the puck, and a lot of value on that very impressive checking line for them.
He's time on the point of the power play in St. Louis, but he couldn't get time with McCabe, Caberlet, and Cabina in front of him on the points in that Maple Leaf man advantage unit. It's cleared out by Raymond, and the penalty time at 1:05 of the Mitchell call for interference. Berglund gets the pass. The lanky rookie centerman has to reach back for the puck. Oshie and the Blues reload. The chuck coming off this power play. Boys, Perron, Oshie denied by Burrows. Woywitka. 42 seconds remaining on Mitchell's penalty. It's dumped in, batted out of the air by Bieksa. Backus takes it. Down low to Boys. Sends it across for McDonald. And it was by his stick. Boys looked like he had room to walk in front himself. Bieksa blocks a pass. Backus shoots. Save by Luongo. And it's Olin loading up for the backhand clear. Mason ahead for McDonald. Pounded by Raymond. 17 seconds to go in this critical power play for the Blues. Down 2-0 with 2:15 to go in the third period of game 2. McDonald. And a step around Ryan Johnson. And it's cleared to center. Mason now going to the bench. With 2 minutes to go, Mitchell out of the box. Vancouver at full strength throws a shoulder at Koliakovo. And the extra skater belonging to the Blues with Mason in the bench. The play whistled down at the blue line. And once again, a difficult time for the players to hear the whistles.
Yeah, this place is buzzing now. Mammoth penalty kill. And a lot of the grunt work done by the forwards for Vancouver. Kessler and Burrows. Mason Raymond. Pressure in the neutral zone. Pressure up ice. The best place to kill a penalty rather than in your own zone. And they're now under 2 minutes away from going up 2-0 in this series. I'm sure timeout will be called here, and it is. And they'll talk things over about how they want to execute. Getting Chris Mason to the bench, the extra guy on, and score 2 goals in a $1:55 to send this to overtime.
Stanley Cup Playoffs on Versus. Every second counts. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. It's another chapter in one of the best rivalries on ice. When the top-seeded Bruins in the Eastern Conference host the Montreal Canadiens in Game 2 in Boston of their quarterfinal series. Habs and Bruins tomorrow night at 8 Eastern right here on Versus. Check out the brackets in the Eastern Conference series. And Pittsburgh with that overtime win over the Flyers now up 2-0. They're tied up. Carolina and Jersey one each.
How important are special teams in the postseason? 5 of the 8 goals that were scored in the other 2 games tonight were scored on the power play. Some great matchups in the opening round. It's my favorite round of the playoffs every year. The energy is there, the intensity, the 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7. This one, 3 versus 6.
As we get the horn sounding with the puck being dropped by Mike Civic. Of course, with Mike at 6'10", that puck's got to fall a long way to get to the ice. And by that time, the horn went off, and they're going to realign, and I imagine they've got to put some time back on the clock. It now reads 1:56 remaining in the third period. Mason was standing in front of his net, anticipating the opportunity to get off for the extra skater with the Blues down a couple. Canucks, however, win this face-off, and they'll force Steen and company back. Backus down to McDonald. Across to Boys. Mason going to the bench. The extra skaters Keith Tkachuk, and it's cleared down the ice by Burrows, cut off by Koliakovo. McDonald will play it in deep. Luongo to the corner. Salo up the boards. Controlled by the Canucks. And out they come. Henrik Sedin trying to send in Burrows. He'll shoot himself. He scores! And that'll do it. 3-0 Canucks with 1:24 to play in Game 2.
So they get 2 from their prime line. This one into an empty net. The other one, Burrows stuffed home. They really gave him a little bit of breathing room. And their checking game and their goaltender and some frustration on the St. Louis side. They just haven't been able to generate enough offense in these first 2 games to steal one in Vancouver.
Well, John Davidson, Andy Murray hoping that the sellout crowd that will greet them at Scott Trade Center on Sunday for Game 3 will help energize their squad. Henrik Sedin, his 3rd point in 2 games. Daniel with 3 points as well. So 6 points for the Twins, and that'll do it for the Heat on them.
Yeah, forget about the support stuff that everyone talked about. Hey, they've done it themselves. They've been the tip of the spear offensively for Vancouver. They've played well without the puck, and they're a major reason why Vancouver's going to go to St. Louis up 2-0.
Daniel picks up a 4th point in these first 2 games as he gets an assist, as well as Saddle on the empty netter at 18:36. And the puck played by Olin, carried in by David Perron, cuts it and shoots it. It's steered away by Luongo. So with the scoring taken care of, the task now trying to finish off the shutout for Luongo. Jackman forced to wait at the line. Mason back in net for St. Louis. As Olin with it, he'll just lob it out to center ice with 22 seconds to go. The shot's 30-27 favoring the Blues. And we've got Bernier and Rippon involved from the Vancouver side. Play continues with Polak into the zone with 8 seconds to go. Bieksa trying to get the puck away from him. Polak out of that corner.
They're not going to know when the game ends.
It's ended, but the action has not. B.J. Crombeen is firing punches at Kevin Bieksa in the corner. And everybody else on the ice piles in. Jackman set to go.
Ian Bernier ready to throw down. Shades of the end of the Boston-Montreal game last night.
Rippon trying to get into the action there. As Bernier and Jackman, and I think they're going to let him go, but the officials
I don't think they have any choice as to whether to let him go or not. They're busy with others.
Derek Amell, after getting rid of a couple of fighters and getting them apart, now concentrates on separating those 2 battlers.
Andy Murray becoming unglued at the end of the game as the veins are popping and his disgust at the Vancouver Canucks. I think he's looking at the guys who are on the ice, in particular Rippon. This isn't over yet. Rippon's trying to grab a hold of Jackman and see if he can get another. Bieksa and Crombeen were the first 2, and B.J. Crombeen was certainly no shrinking violet in that violence down in the corner. So there's some major dislike as they head south of here for Game 3.
And there's some major discipline that can result from fights after the final horn in a situation like this. Now Andy Murray coming out to the doorway of the bench as the Canucks are now allowed to come out and celebrate the 30-save shutout, the first of his Stanley Cup career for Roberto Luongo, but Andy wants to have the last word with the officials.
Well, Luongo was full marks for the whitewash here tonight. The Blues had 30 shots on goal. He answered all of them, got a little fortunate with some pipes, but that has to happen. And St. Louis just has to find a way to generate more offense going forward in this series. They can't rely on their power play to do all of it.
Now Vancouver wins Game 2, 3-0. They're up 2 games to none. Hockey Central will wrap up the night after the break. Don't go away here on Versus.